We're all taught that sales is won with the perfect words, the perfect script. But what if I told you the deals you're losing have almost nothing to do with what you say and everything to do with your own internal state? Today, we are going to dive deep into the difference between a reaction and a response and why mastering this one skill is the real secret to winning when the pressure is on.
Oh, you know that feeling, right? Your heart starts beating a little faster, your palms get a bit sweaty, you get that really tough objection from a key stakeholder, or maybe procurement just throws you a total curveball. These aren't just little moments in the sales process, they are the sales process. This is the arena where deals are truly won or lost.
And this is the core idea we really need to get our heads around. It is so rarely about that extra 5% discount. It's all about how you handle the tension when a client just drops that bomb, hey, your competitor is cheaper. That pressure, it's like a giant spotlight, and trust me, it reveals everything about your approach.
So when that spotlight hits you, you've basically got two paths you can go down. And which one you choose, whether you realize it or not, completely changes the entire dynamic of the conversation. So let's break them down.
Okay, so path number one is the reaction. Think of this as your brain's autopilot. It's your ancient fight-or-flight, lizard brain instinct suddenly grabbing the steering wheel. It's a reflex, right? It's designed for survival, not for selling. And in the heat of the moment, it feels like you're protecting yourself. But it is almost always a deal killer.
Does any of this sound familiar? The client questions your price, and bam, you immediately jump into a 5-minute monologue defending it. Or you toss out a discount before you even understand the real issue. That's a reaction. It's you pushing back when you should be leaning in, and it creates conflict right when you need to be building a connection.
Now, let's talk about the alternative path, the response. This isn't a reflex. Nope, this is a choice. It's deliberate, it's calm, and it comes from a place of confidence, not a place of fear. And here's the key. It's about controlling yourself, not trying to control the buyer. And you can literally hear the difference. A response sounds like, that's a fair concern. Or, can you say more about that? Or even just a simple, help me understand what's driving this. You see that shift? These phrases don't argue. They invite. You stop being a defender and you become a detective. So let's just put it side by side. It's really this simple. A reaction is fast and defensive, and it builds a wall between you and the buyer. A response, on the other hand, is intentional and grounded, and it builds a bridge. One closes doors, the other opens them right up. Okay, so why does this matter so much? It's because the real transaction happening on any sales call isn't actually about money. It's about trust. And your internal state, your nervous system, is either building that trust or letting it leak all over the floor. And here's a crucial piece of psychology you have to understand. Most buyers absolutely hate conflict. So when they sense your defensiveness, when they feel your anxiety spike, they don't usually fight back. They just disappear. They ghost you. The deal doesn't blow up in some big explosion. It just quietly fizzles out because they withdrew from the pressure that you created. We're all taught to search for that perfect comeback, right? That magic script for handling any objection that comes our way, thinking that's going to help us close more deals. But that is a complete misunderstanding of what the problem actually is. And here it is. This is the big aha moment. The problem isn't your script. It's a regulation problem. It has nothing to do with what you say and everything to do with your ability to regulate your own nervous system before you say a single word. Your team doesn't need better lines. They need the ability to stay grounded when it really matters. I want you to picture trust like it's water in a bucket. Every single time you get defensive or anxious or you have that knee-jerk reaction, you poke a small hole in that bucket. The buyer might not even consciously know why they feel uneasy, but they can feel that leak. They sense the instability and they pull back. So how do we patch the holes in the bucket? Right? How do we make that all-important shift from reacting to responding? Let's get into a few practical tools and mindsets that'll help you master these critical moments. I absolutely love this concept. It's called marble jar selling. Imagine you have a clear glass jar for every single one of your clients. See, trust isn't earned in one big, heroic moment. It's built one tiny marble at a time, through dozens of these little interactions. And this just lays it out perfectly. A pressure moment happens. You're at a crossroads. If you choose an intentional, grounded response, you get to deposit a marble of trust into the jar. But if you react, you're not just failing to add one. You might actually be taking one out. And hey, for anyone here in a leadership role, you need to listen to this very closely. You can hand out the most brilliant sales playbook in the world, but if you're frantic, stressed, and reactive in meetings, well, that's the behavior your team is going to model. They absorb your emotional state like a sponge. A winning sales culture isn't about the cool posters you put on the wall. It's about the collective nervous system of the team. What does it feel like? Is it calm, confident, and curious? Or is it anxious and defensive? That feeling, that's the real culture, and it's set by how leaders respond under fire. So let's wrap up with the single most powerful, most actionable technique you can use to make this shift. It's incredibly simple to understand, but I'll warn you, it's not always easy to do. It's called the profitable pause. 6 seconds. That's it. The next time a buyer hits you with a tough objection, before you say a single word, just pause. Take a deep breath. You're creating a tiny, precious gap between the stimulus and your response. In those 6 seconds, something pretty remarkable happens. The entire tempo of the conversation shifts. Defensiveness, both yours and theirs, starts to just dissolve. That little bit of space is just enough time for your rational brain to catch up with your emotional one. That pause is the difference. It's the difference between a knee-jerk reaction and a thoughtful response. It's the space where you decide to ask a question instead of making a statement, to get curious instead of getting defensive. Honestly, it's where the deal is saved. And that really says it all, doesn't it? The pressure in the moment will always be loud. It's going to scream at you for a fast, emotional reaction. But if you can learn to stay grounded and choose a response instead, you'll find that trust is quiet, but trust is what's truly profitable. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. In your own calls, in your own team meetings, where are those small, unseen reactions silently draining away the trust you need to succeed? Because finding those moments, that's the first step to changing the entire outcome.